Now we are going to learn about loops in Python. Loops are one of the most important programming concepts because they let us repeat actions without writing the same code again and again. Think about it this way. If I asked you to print the numbers from 1 to 100, you could write 100 print statements. But that would be boring, error-prone, and a waste of time. Instead, Python gives us loops to handle repetition automatically. There are two main kinds of loops in Python: for loops and while loops. For loops and while loops. And later we will see how we can control them with special keywords like break and continue. So let's start with a for loop. Here's the simplest example. For I in range 5, print I. This program says for each number in the range from 0 up to 5, print it. Notice that Python starts at 0 by default and stops before the number you give it. So this will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I wanted it to print from 1 to 5, I would write for I in range print I. Now it starts at 1 and ends before 6, which means it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also tell Python to skip numbers by giving it a step. For example, for I in range 2, 11, 2, print I. This prints the even numbers from 2 to 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So let's say that range start stop step is a very flexible way of controlling a loop. Now let's try for loops with string. So basically a for loop also works on sequences, not just numbers. For example, word equals Python. For letter in word, print letter. So here Python goes through the word one character at a time. The output will be Python. You can also loop directly over a list. For example, fruits. Now I am trying to create a list. apple, cherry, for fruit in fruits, print fruit. Here Python loops through the list and assigns each time to the variable fruit. You can also make it more interactive, like I like fruit. Later in this course, we will look at lists, which are even more powerful. For now, it's enough to know that for loops can go through any kind of sequence, not just ranges. So now let's talk about while loops. While loops is the second kind of loop. So here, how it works. The while loop repeats as long as a condition is true. So let's say that count equals 5 while count is greater than 0, print let's say countdown count. Count so here pay attention to the indentation that I put in this program. Print blast off. Here the loop starts with count 5. Each time Python checks, is count greater than 0? If it is, it prints the current value and subtracts 1. When count finally reaches 0, the condition is false and the loop ends. So the output will be countdown 5, 4, 3, countdown 1. In the previous session, we discussed the importance of indentation in Python and how it determines which block of code a statement belongs to. In this example, the indentation shows that the statements are part of the while loop. However, if I want the statement blast off to run at the end of the program, after the loop finishes, it must be aligned with the while statement, not indented as part of the block. So let me remove this indentation here and run it again and see what happens. So you see that basically the difference between these two programs. One thing to be careful about with while loops is that if the condition never becomes false, the loop runs forever. For example, while true, print this will run forever. This is called an infinite loop. Sometimes we want that, but usually we include a way to break out of it, like this. So basically, if you run this code, it will run forever. But I can break out of it doing a break. While true, text equals input type q to create if text is q break print you typed text. So let me run this. This loop will keep running until the user types the letter Q. So you see that it keeps running and it never stops until I type the letter Q. Whatever else I type, it never stops. For example, let's do A. It doesn't stop. 4 doesn't stop. So whenever I type Q, so you see it stopped. Now let's talk more about these loops, loop control statements, break and continue. The break statement stops the loop completely. Let me do another example. For example, for number in range 110, if number equals 5, print stopping at 5, break print number. So this prints 1, 2, 3, 4. When it reaches 5, it prints stopping at 5 and exits the loop. Now let's do another example, the continuous statement that's different. It doesn't stop the loop, it just skips the current iteration and moves to the next one. Let me do another code cell for number in range 110. Let's say if number is divisible by 2, continue print number. This prints only the odd numbers because whenever it finds an even number, it skips it. The output is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Loops can also be placed inside other loops. This is called a nested loop. For example, let's make a small multiplication table. For I in range 1, 4, for j in range 1, 5, print I times j equals I times j. Here the outer loop runs for I equals 1, 2, 3. For each I, the inner loop runs with j equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Together they print out all the combinations. Let's try that. So these are the values for inner loop 1, and these are the values. The second value is the value for the inner loop. So the first value is the value for outer loop. This is how Python can handle more complex repetitions. We will use nested loops more when we work with lists and real data. So let's summarize. Use a for loop when you know how many times you want to repeat, or when you are going through a sequence. Use a while loop when you want to repeat until a condition changes. Use break to exit a loop early. Use continue to escape one iteration. And remember, loops can be combined or nested for more advanced tasks. In the next lessons, we will learn about lists. You will see how loops become even more powerful because we will use them to process collections of data. Loops are everywhere in programming, and understanding them is key to writing efficient and flexible programs.